Hello.
Here's your tea, kind sir.
Thank you, sir.
The vampire tea.
All right. Well.
Iris.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back to GBM podcast. I'm Parks.
Guys? I'm Kason.
Johnny.
And we're here today with Johnny of House of J and El Jumbotron and Stupid Idiot fame, and I'm sure many other projects. But go.
No, there's not really that much more. That's good.
But so, like, real quick, just kind of tell people like what they should know about the man himself.
The man himself. I'm pretty chill. I don't think I'm that cool. I ran a house venue with some good friends of mine for probably like 6 years, starting in like 2016, and it started as like a kind of like activist house garden thing with a journalist friend of mine, and then it evolved with my bandmate Schaefer and I starting the House of J, and we started doing like local shows, and I don't know, we just moved from there. Everything good with the sound?
Yeah, I know. I was telling him to put the monitor up, but we're good.
Sound check.
I just wanted us to be able to see ourselves.
Okay.
That way we know if we're in frame or what.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess like I've just Jeff and I basically set out to kind of like create a space that was like what we felt was like an honest representation of the Houston's like music and art scene. And we pretty much just did that by casting like a super wide net, trying to follow some of the like cool principles that we're into, and pretty much just growing organically by working with people who are like reciprocating and excited to work with you, and seeing where there's like authenticity in art, and I guess like seeing where like the people were going and who is actually enjoying the shows and trying to put those people on. It just grew into this crazy fucking thing where there's like 200 people at the house all the time, and we pretty much did it till the wheels fell off, and we are maybe 6 months away from when that happened. That was like our 6th J-Fest 6. We threw 6 festivals that were pretty crazy, and put on some cool bands for those, but kind of ended unceremoniously with a parking incident.
I remember that.
And then, my wife and I chose to kind of move out, and we are chilling we're chilling out here, and my good buddy Jeffrey, he's still doing House of J, and I'm super glad about it. Like he's still running the house with new people who are also very excited. I wanted to focus more on music, so I'm very much still invested in my band El Jumbotron, and going to be doing a lot of booking and hopefully a lot more traveling next year.
How did you and Jeffer first meet?
Jeffrey and I first met through that activist group. It's called the Houston Freethinkers. And it was pretty much just like a very fucking loose conglomerate of people who would work together on similar ideas, I feel like. And Jeffrey came from Scotland, and he would help out a lot with gardening stuff. And we just were tangentially kind of like in similar circles. He's super introverted, so we didn't like talk too much. Plus I was like pretty young at the time when I was like there. I was like probably 19, 20. So I was a fucking idiot. I don't blame him for not wanting to have too much of an in-depth conversation with me at that time. But it would just be a few short years later, after me being involved in the group and him being involved in the group, we would just both end up moving at House of J. Yeah. We hit it off like right away when we started working together. We were like, just totally changed our lives. Like, we were just like, okay, we're just going to do this totally crazy, weird thing now with our lives. And just got super interested in it, and it's still somewhere on the middle of that journey right now. I don't know how far along I am.
So question. You said that, you're an idiot when you met him. And then also you had mentioned him being an introvert. So earlier whenever we were talking to him, we were kind of talking about his results on the Myers-Briggs 16 personalities. I don't know if you've ever taken that one.
I don't know if I have to.
But I was just wondering, like, in what way, if at all, you feel like your unique personality has kind of informed, like, the creative work that you have done and are doing. And
Well, I don't really see... So, like, a lot of people, they get kind of obsessed with the introvert-extrovert thing. I think it's more of a generalization, personally. Because, okay, well, here's the problem. I'm super extroverted, right? And because I'm extroverted, when I would have meetings with, like, Jeffrey, my wife, Alberta, is super introverted as well. And so, like, when I speak with them, sometimes, like, I treat the conversation as, like, an extrovert would. Which could be known as something like kind of like golden retriever energy, basically. Like, I'm excited to hear what answer you have to say.
Right, yeah.
And so when you don't answer me right away, like the cool, collected people that introverts kind of are, you know, like you might say something and their answer is like not saying something. And that drives me nuts. And so I read a book about it. And like it was pretty much just a short like 2-hour listen. I can't even remember what it's called. It was like one of the only books on it that I found on Audible. But it was like a lot of valuable information to like think about it as like they have like people who are introverted and extroverted kind of have like different root wirings of their brain and like how they like communicate an idea. So like if you understand that, it helps kind of bridge a gap of like kind of like awkwardness or like misunderstanding, which is like kind of super bound to happen. But I don't know. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. Like, because being extroverted, you have to be like really calculated because you're running a risk of like oversharing. You're running a risk of like kind of talking about some shit you don't know about, or you could like really come off as like just dominating the conversation unnecessarily and just like it. For me, I had to learn how to incorporate that to not be fucking annoying. Because like if you're extroverted and you're not socially aware, you're fucking annoying. Yeah. But like introverts, they can also just have like crippling fear of like just I don't even understand it. It's like it's this one of the. I don't know. It's like it's hard for me to conceptualize because I'm sometimes on the other side of the fence. But like, sometimes they're thinking so many thoughts in their head they can't speak.
Oh yeah.
If that like makes sense. Like that's how I was led to like understand it at least. So it's like someone fucked up your order at the restaurant, and you're just like thinking of like all these weird ways for you to like politely say, "Hey, could you please send this back?" Without coming off this weird way. Like an introvert might overthink that and not even be able to move in that simple
Well, it's
situation.
like paralysis by analysis.
That's an extreme, right? But like it's kind of just for an example.
So speaking to, you know, some young creators out there, how do you avoid overthinking, like in terms of like creating your art or in terms of just doing your work? How do you avoid getting too in your own head about it? Because I mean, there are some that are just introverted and, you know, are kind of stuck in that sort of.
Well, introverts usually kick ass at art. They do a good job. It just depends. I mean, like I said, it's also depends on the situation because like introverts are also, that doesn't mean they're not social.
Right.
They just don't like wasting their time on pointless conversations. An introvert doesn't want to fucking talk to you about the weather. They don't. I'll humor you about the weather.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nice days. Like, yeah, it was better than yesterday or something. You know what I mean? Introverts like, yeah, I'm outside right now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but like, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Well, okay. I was going to actually hop onto another thing that we wanted to bring up. Jeffer said that we should ask you about you guys' dive into self-help books. He said that was worth at least a question.
Yeah.
So first of all, I guess I'll preface it by just asking: Do you think that self-help is like worth the, I guess, time investment, like an attention investment? Do you feel like you came out the other end with some value?
Sorry. So yeah, self-help is interesting. I think depends on where you're at, right? Like, how valuable it is for you and like what you're looking for. But I think the most important thing is the fact that like some people get caught up in thinking that they have to like agree with everything that everybody says.
Yeah.
Like if you read a book, you have to like accept the entire book. You know what I mean? So it's like you can read a book that has valuable information and take what you need from it.
Oh,
so like that's kind of what I would say about self-help if that's what you're interested in. So it's like you don't, like just read everything and read things that you don't agree with to strengthen your thoughts. But like we started on like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, like the 4 Agreements is like an incredible book. There's
question.
Think and Grow Rich, and like that's like a great book. Napoleon, anything by Napoleon Hill, but like he's still kind of one of those guys where it's like I don't know how people feel about bringing him up because he's like like capitalist, blah blah blah. But like that's what I'm talking about when I say like you don't have to accept everything. I think some people hold themselves back because you get caught up in their politics or you get caught up in their other shit, and you're like, okay, yes, like he was wrong, like, but I'm like critical enough to like say like, okay, I disagree with that, but I can appreciate this point of view on this like perspective
or the idea, like what the value of the idea.
Give an example, but yeah.
No, I think you honestly really hit the whole essence of like our little project here on the head, which
Everyone
is just
should
like
seek that. Like you should seek different like knowledge, and I don't know. I'm very much into the Tao Te Ching, which is like my favorite kind of like it's not really a religious text, but it's kind of like a book of poems of good advice. I like to read it in the voice of a Chinese master. I grew up on anime, and I just like feel like yes, like this is my meditation.
Speaking of anime, I'm sorry that the other day when we pulled up I didn't bring my Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
I forgive you.
Just be prepared next time.
Yeah,
because it's on site.
I thought about bringing
Shadow
it today. Shadow Realm, ban you to the Shadow Realm. So wait, what era of Yu-Gi-Oh are you the most into?
I'm all the way up. I'm all the way caught up at this point. I mean, like I haven't watched the anime since I was fucking in 2nd grade. I used to get the Shonen Jump magazines.
Yup.
Every month. So
yeah, we used to get that joint.
I was on that shit, but I kind of always was just kind of into it in general for a little bit too long. Like I was like played it till I was in like 7th grade or something.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And then because we would always play it at recess.
Yeah.
So I just kind of always had a soft spot for like strategy card games. And then what happened was they came out with that fucking dueling app. And I'm like, this is great because now there's like actually a community for it. So like I feel like in a funny way there is like a place for that now. Like that's why I'm like trying to reach out and find other people who do play, because I'm like, I mean like you don't have to go out and buy cards to like do it or whatever. I don't know. It's a stupid pastime, but like I was like, this is cool. It doesn't involve like drinking. It's not like unhealthy of a habit per se. I'm like, I guess I'm using my brain. Like, as long as I don't as long as I'm still like doing my laundry and like fucking like practicing bass, like it's okay.
So nowadays, like when you are doing like bass practice and stuff, like how do you normally structure like a practice, or is it kind of just like free flowing? How does that normally go?
When I practice by myself.
Yeah. Well, first I'd like to know like how your like solo practicing kind of goes, like just how you do that, and then like, I mean, if you want to talk about how you guys do it as a band, I think that would also be cool.
Yeah. So I mean, it is. I don't know. I guess it's a mix of structured and not structured. Never really thought about this question that hard, but I guess I kind of like.
Do you just try to
like if there's a show coming up, I'll usually make sure that I have like good stamina before the show and just play through the set pretty hard. Play what I would think would be a part that I would fuck up or not, a couple times with my eyes closed or something like that, and then a lot of the time, like, I like to write things that just come to me, so a lot of it is just nonsense when I'm practicing. Or I'll do some scales and some, like, structural things, but I feel like it's just more or less for, like, dexterity, and more the songwriting comes from, like, just fucking around and being like, oh, maybe that's something I'll record it on my phone and save it for later. And yeah.
What like, I don't know. This is kind of like a double barrel question, but do you prefer the bass over the 6-string? And like, if so, like, why did you choose the bass?
The bass chose me.
No, for real. You never choose the bass.
No, yeah, I really didn't. I was a guitar player, but no, I was a guitar player with Jumbotron. Well, I did play. The funny story is I was in jazz band in fucking grade was it, dude? My sophomore year. So I was in Ohio still. My first half of my sophomore year, and I had signed up for jazz band because they apparently needed a bass player, and I could not read music. And jazz band's like the most difficult. Like. You're supposed, like, everyone in class could sight read. So I literally walk into class the first day and everyone's just staring at me like, why is this fucking person who's never been in a single music class? Like all the 10 years we've all been in music classes together. And my teacher used to make me fake, like I said, vicious the bass. He was playing the bass with his left hand on the piano. And I was pretending to play. So he could win his awards.
Dang.
Yeah, like one time I plugged in before my final exam because I thought I was gonna fail. I had you know your grades online?
Yeah.
I had a 100 question mark was like the grade because like they basically just stuck me in this room with this fucking metalhead pothead guy. And we didn't do a lick of fucking jazz. We just like played like metal music, and I didn't learn how to read music at all. But yeah, I don't know how I got on that story. But yeah, so like I wasn't like classically trained or anything like that for bass. But I was like, I learned how to play like some things like here and there. I can read music, like it's just gonna take me a long time. Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna like sight read or anything like that, but it's come through like bands needing bass, and like Jumbotron was really just like Schaefer was playing guitar in our living room all the time, and I was just like, I got this bass amp, like let me just jam, and him and I just ended up like just hitting it off, like I said. So we wrote some really awesome songs, and we're just like, this is fucking fun as fuck, and just kept going with it. And I explored the bass, and Jeffers like allowed me to explore the bass in a lot of different ways that I feel like make it not boring for me. So there's a lot of different ways to play an instrument, but like understanding your part in making like a really fucking awesome song is just, I love it. So
And so for you guys, like as far as the songwriting process has gone, what to you are the ingredients of like a good Jumbotron song?
Everything on 11.
Everything on 11.
No, sometimes we wrote some soft songs. Oh God, wrong pipe.
That almost got me at the beginning of this podcast.
Like the second I did it, I was
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be bad.
Yeah, man.
The ingredients of an awesome Jumbotron song are, anyways, I don't know. We all kind of brought a lot of different stuff to the table. Sometimes I would write a riff. Sometimes Jeff would be coming home from the train going like bum 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 like on his fucking phone, and somehow that would turn into a song. So we've done a lot of songs in a lot of different ways. We usually just workshop the ever-living shit out of them. And really in the early days, Jeff and I spent a ton of time, just me and him, writing what we thought was like just super tight music.
And then, okay, so for me, anytime I've gone and seen like a Jumbotron show, the thing that really stands out for me, maybe it's because really enjoy the drums, but for me, like, Jumbotron has always had very, very good drumming. So how do you guys know when you've, like, found a good drummer, and, like, what makes, like, a good drummer?
Yeah, drumming. Shout out to all the drummers in the world, dude, because it's the most annoying instrument to play live. Like, I'm not an amazing drummer, and I have played drums live a lot more than I should have. But they have to lead the song. Like, you know, he's a good drummer if you're counting on that guy, and like he's there every time. So like, just kind of plays with a lot of force, and doesn't. Just like anything else, like every instrument, you have to play for the song, right?
Yeah.
You can't just, depending on the band, maybe unless you're in a jazz band, then you can like kind of hot dog it for 20 minutes. But, you know, other than that, like keep the song tight and like keep the parts like really well connected to one another, and just try to fill the space like correctly.
Okay. And then, like, as far as your personal influences and stuff go, I know you've mentioned the Bad Brains to us before. That's a band that we just, like, absolutely love, like, the whole PMA thing. Are there any other bands that, like, you feel like have really, like, informed your taste? Or
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many bands have informed my taste. NoFX has always been like one of my favorite bands, but I don't feel like Jumbotron has that much to do with NoFX. Like, Fat Mike as a bass player, like, definitely writes some like sick kind of riffs. But, you know, it ranges everything from like super far back to like classic rock, you know, like Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin. And I was always obsessed with bands like the Addicts, like growing up. As far as like early punk, like the Clash, and pretty much a lot of stuff all over the place. The Pixies, so like Jeffrey and I love the Pixies. We love like Nirvana. So I have like a pretty wide range of music tastes as far as like influences. I just really like good music that I feel like has a soul. The only music that doesn't like particularly speak to me very well are like country for some reason. It just, like, I know there's like some good bluegrass or something out there that I probably get down to, some like outlaw moonshine talking about that kind of shit. Like, I probably like those guys, but like right. You know, it just, I don't know. A lot of bands.
Okay, so was there like a big learning curve for you guys setting up the first like shows at House of J? Like, was it okay? Yeah. Can you kind of like just talk about that and just like kind of what you learned like throughout that process?
Yeah. I mean, we had to learn like what was valuable to somebody coming out to a show, and like what the experience means to somebody, and like how we could like kind of do these things like in an authentic way. And so like experimenting with that was like a huge balance, right? Because you don't know if you should charge $5 or $20, because some people would be like, oh, know your worth, you know, like the show should be like $10, $15, $20 because these bands are sick and blah blah blah. And like maybe that's true in some situations for some bands, but it's more of a rarity. And then we did like, you know, free shows, so there's a lot of learning curve that had to do with that, like as far as like what do we charge people, and like what do they value this experience as, and like also like what do we want from them, like, you know what I mean, like do we really want $5 as much as we want 5 people at the show, you know, like if that's like what it meant. And so it's like and so we learned a lot that, you know, people will give back, like kind of like the more you put out there the more you get back, and kind of finding a way to trust that, but then also just getting, you know, rinsed on like different deals with different people, you know, people who either don't pay you or whatever, having good deals with good people, continuing to work with those guys, and kind of like over 6 years building that, seeing who's like working hard, who's like being kind of like catty or whatever, trying to avoid that shit, not trying to be political about things. So there was a lot of like there's a lot of things to learn about being a venue. And, like, most venues that are a house venue don't last as long as we did. They last, like, a short period of time, because we didn't need to learn any of the lessons. It's like, don't fucking talk to 13-year-old girls. It's like, or some shit. Like, I mean, don't like get high on meth and like steal somebody's microphone.
Yeah.
Because it's always some shit like that happens, or somebody fights like their landlord, or. It was really kind of an anomaly for us to be able to do it for that long and like kind of be able to figure it out that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, understanding like the DIY scene became like the biggest thing that I feel like we learned is like it's such an ecosystem that people don't like understand. If you're kind of like giving love to like all these different little like kind of sectors in your city, like a city as big as Houston, like Jeff and I used to like sit back and think, and we'd be like, okay, there's like 2.2 million people in the inner city, maybe 4 million the outer city.
Right.
What percentage of these people do we really need to get to our house? Like 0.0000. Like, I didn't do the math on it, but like 100 people is not a lot in this big city.
Right.
So it's kind of like, why would 100 people come here? Like, why would those different things like that? I don't know. I just think that some people don't realize the capabilities of like what's around them, and like how many different little cool things that are going on. All these people have their cool little cliques and their cool little talents to share, and we try to take down the barriers to entry for that. Like, okay, we want people to be able to set up for as cheap as possible and sell their trinkets or draw people's faces or take a picture of somebody. It's like you guys coming out and like doing videos and like hopefully getting other jobs from that, and like all kinds of like, it's an ecosystem. Like there's skateboarding involved now, and so like because of all this like collaboration, it's grown into like something where that many people can consistently show up because there's all these things to do, all these things. People excited about sharing what they have, and it's very synergistic.
Oh yeah, and like you have all these people who are coming out and they are putting blood, sweat, and tears into this craft that they're making, whether it be music, whether it be video, whether it be leatherwork, clothing, like drawing, like all this stuff, the fire twirling, all this stuff, and it's like like these people, like it's there's like honestly labor involved, but you have a special connection to like what is being built, and you kind of have like a personal, I guess there's fulfillment in the work. It's not just like you're creating value, but it's not just like some 9 to 5. It's like it's meaningful, purposeful work. I that to me that was always what was cool about a place like House of J, and the whole thought of it being an ecosystem. Like it really is like a community building sort of a thing.
Well, people don't understand this. I think that like there's multiple different kinds of success, really, and like some people are successful through a very like corporate route of like, okay, like they had some kind of like nepotism or like some kind of like lucky break, essentially, right? And that for sure happens. But like there's also a lot of people who you only see that like tip of the iceberg of like where they are, of like when they're doing like whatever the fuck it is they're doing, and you're like, damn, they just like like got this thing, like. But like a lot of the times, if it's something that's like built and it's lasted for years and years and years, it's got to do with like an authenticity going down to like that grassroots level, right? Like staying true to kind of like a certain purpose that's relatable to a lot of people or means something to a lot of people, that like they would be invested in that. Like whether that's a brand that like means something to people and they have like a certain standard and they just like, this is the way we do stuff and that's why they respect it, whether we like those brands or not, that's why they're able to last, because they've like stayed in that like lane for those people. And that's why people get pissed off when bands change their sound and don't change their name and like do other things. Like I don't know. I teach their own, but I'm just saying, like, there's just something to be said about, like, building something from the grassroots with, like, the actual, like, hands on the ground and, like, meeting people and doing things and, yeah, getting there.
So who designed the Jumbotron logo? The 2 arrows and the...
I did.
Yeah? What kind of was your idea?
It's kind of stupid.
I
I worked at UPS.
Oh, okay.
This side up on the box.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't even put that together.
That's where it came from. I mean, I was like, I wanted something that people could draw on, like, their fucking notebook at school. When teacher.
I think that's a good, like, as far as, like, design goes, I've always thought that, like, if someone could draw it on a notebook,
and,
like if a kid can draw it in class, then that's, like, fucking, because I remember being a kid in school and drawing, like, the Nike symbol in class. Like, I wasn't even particularly interested in Nike or anything, but just, like,
that's what came to mind, yeah.
And, yeah, it's, like, like brand recognition and being, like, replicability, I guess.
I was always drawing the big ass Van Halen logo.
I was always
like the wings and shit.
I was always drawing the S thing.
Yeah.
The S.
Oh no, yeah, the S is a classic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to do that.
Classic.
I remember getting called in the principal's office one time and and like they were like, I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. And then they're like, did you write? Excuse me, sorry. They're like, did you write "star fucking hipsters" on your piece of paper? And I was like, oh yeah. Did I turn that in? I was like, that's the band, yeah.
So, have you always been the kind of Johnny we know today, or how did the person you are today come about? Like were you always kind of like eccentric, like in school and stuff, like star fucking hipsters? I mean.
Yeah, no, I was. I had a really crazy time in school. High school, we were just, I don't know. I was like a bit destructive for sure in Ohio. Pretty destructive like almost the whole way through, but yeah, just super, like I kind of understood that like the years of high school, like I knew I wasn't going to go to college from like get-go. I was like freshman year, I was like, I'm not going to college because it's going to be too easy. And if I go to college, then I'm going to end up doing that thing and not do, like, music. And, like, I'm still here, like, 10 years later, not going to college. I feel like we're making some headway now. I think it takes about, like, 10 years to start making some headway.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, some guy told me some people go to school for 10 years to be a fucking...
doctor.
Be a doctor or something like that. Yeah, I have less debt than that person, too.
So, okay, I have another question. So you did SS Wayne with us.
Yeah.
Our first podcast, we kind of talked about like the making of SS Wayne. One of the scenes that we did not get any behind the scenes footage for, I don't know why. I know we took behind the scenes footage, but as we were looking through all the footage, we could never find any. But
file was corrupted.
That happened to us on a recent podcast, and that was really unfortunate.
That sucks.
Yeah. And then we re-recorded it, and then that file was corrupted too.
You guys remember this?
The Doomed podcast.
Throw it away.
Yeah. But so
after that.
We love you, Ezra. We're sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Ezra. We need to reschedule that.
I didn't realize that was the guest.
But so, how was like filming that?
Yeah, what was your
for you
experience
guys?
like?
From the band perspective. So, Stupid Idiot, you guys, we
were
filmed.
super excited. We had a fun time. Yeah, I mean, we've always loved working with you guys, and we were just kind of totally tripped out to be in a movie. I wish we had a better fitting song than the jet ski song, but it was pretty good. I mean, either way, it's kind of a very kooky offshoot of the movie and a nice like kind of break point in some of like the quietness of the tension. So it like gives it like this nice peaks and valleys as it like went on. So
yeah,
I was happy to have played like a little part in that, and like we also were just like super happy to support you guys.
We're
like, give you guys a fucking band for show. Like, you know, we would have pretended to be some shitty other band because we just want to be in a movie.
So you. Right before we were, as we were setting up, you were kind of talking about like you guys' idea for a show.
God, yeah.
Do you want to like pitch that real quick?
Pitch it live on the podcast. I don't know if I want to pitch it live on the podcast.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
I would just say that
Have you been like how long have you kind of had the idea of, maybe not that exact idea, but like, I want to kind of write a show, a movie, a screenplay?
Skylar Taylor and I have been writing skits. Like, there are Stupid Idiot skits. If you go look on YouTube, like, there's some good ones. Like, actually, there's like we did one where it was like a Christmas trip, because we had a song called Xmas Eve SUV. Skylar wrote about running over people in a parking lot Christmas Eve. And because there's so much traffic. This is really obviously not true. One year we couldn't play it because it actually happened. Oh. And we were like, ooh, that's in bad taste. We're not going to play that song this year.
Dang, man.
And respect to all the victims of that, because it's, you know, we were a stupid punk band, and our name should, you know, remove us from any guilt of seriousness.
This is kind of an off-topic question, but I am very interested to hear your answer. Do you put much stock in dreaming? Like your dreams that you have? Do you dream much?
I had a really weird dream the other day, but yeah, no, I mean, I put a lot of stock in dreams. I put a lot of stock in, like, whatever anyone's individual person has, like, a relationship with, like, whatever they see as, like, kind of like something beyond this world. So, like, for some people that might be dreams, and other people maybe not. You know, I think that you could, if you meditate on something and, like, you have some kind of relationship with, like, that, like, if you ask a question into the universe, or if you hope that somebody's all right, who are you asking? If you have some kind of relationship with that, then that I would give a lot of merit to that. And things, more often than not, if you take, it's kind of like if the boot fits, you know, if you find meaning in it, then like just go with that.
Would you be okay with like sharing what that last dream was that you remember?
Or a dream.
Or any dream you remember. Me and Kaysen are always talking about like our dreams and stuff. I'll tell. Okay, I want to share it.
Everybody shares a dream.
I have one that I want to share, and it's
okay,
like,
I do remember my dream.
Okay.
I can share it. Okay.
So like a couple days after we had tried to shoot the first iteration of like this pod, it was like right after we had rescheduled. We figured out, all right, this is the day we're gonna do it. All this, and then I had a dream that, and my dreams are always like very long, but I'll cut to the chase. Like, we were in Huntsville. It was kind of like futuristic, you know, whatever. And Houston like was in walking distance. And I remember Case and I, we walked to House of J. I was inside. I was talking to you, and we were talking about, like, you know how in dreams, like, the details are fuzzy, but like what I remember is talking about the future. Like,
nice.
I remember talking about the future. And like we were in House of J, but it didn't look like House of J. It looked, you know, dream House of J.
Nice.
And like we're talking, and then I go outside, and Kaysen's waiting outside, and Kaysen has this like weird futuristic camera, and it's like a futuristic camera. It doesn't shoot like with a lens. It like kind of captures everything in a bubble, and it was just like we were walking with it out in front of our hands, and the camera was just capturing everything around us in like a bubble. And it was like recording like all this like kind of weird three-dimensional
like
thing.
You absorbing what was going on? And
I wish I knew what it meant, but it was it was a cool dream.
Oh yeah.
But that was just one of the recent ones that I remember. We're always talking about this because we do kind of put some stock in, you know.
My dream was like a very classic. Like, you're probably not gonna believe what it was, but it was true. And it was that I had a show with Stupid Idiot, and I forgot my pants. I'm not kidding. And I wasn't really bothered by like you know, being seen in my underwear. I was just kind of bothered by the comfortability level. Like, I remember leaving my house like thinking like, yeah, I should probably grab pants, but like, and then I got to the show and I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to go back and get those pants. Feeling very comfortable, and it was just like a whole thing. But I'm always forgetting stuff. I just at the last Avant show forgot like a ton of like cables, and I was like, oh God. So, I try to not do that, but it happens.
I have like a. Do y'all like keep like a list of y'all's streams?
It depends. I mean, sometimes I write them down.
I have like a list of my dreams right here, and I'm like reading back through them, and it's like kind of scary because I'm like, oh shit, I did have that dream, and then I'm like reading more. It's just it's really weird. I have a dream where me and Parks like played. We were playing a show, but it was in the backyard of our old house. And I know you don't know our house, Johnny, but we used to live in like basically a field, and so it was like this like festival in this big field, and it was me and Parks and two like random other guys, and the guitar I was playing. I say like on here, I was like, you know, it looks really cool, blah blah blah, explaining it, and then like after the set, I was looking at the guitar, and there was like so many complex like knobs and like little doohickeys on the body, and then I like grabbed the neck, and it just turned to like jelly, where it was just like completely limp, and like.
You sure you're not taking like mushrooms?
Oh my gosh.
No, it's crazy reading through my.
Both of our dreams had to do with weird doohickeys. Weird futuristic.
Yeah.
Are you guys into like
Tools.
futuristic technologies?
Not-
I probably
I mean,
gotta wrap up in like 10-15 minutes. Is that cool?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I
we're
was
good.
actually gonna say. I mean, I feel like we've got like some good stuff
Yeah,
here already.
if you
so,
have anything.
Really, yeah. If you have anything last minute that you want to like throw in, or that you want to shout out, or maybe upcoming projects you want people to kind of look forward to.
I am going to be doing stuff next year, but I don't really want to talk about it until it's happening. So
Stay tuned.
You guys just you'll see stuff that's coming out. Jumbotron all the time, always. We got a show on December 9th, and that's December 1st at House of J. I think we're playing outside.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to play, I guess, outside at House of J. Disco set. And on the 9th is a really, really gnarly show with a band from Austin called Bosch, and pretty much like all our fucking homies from the scene. So,
Right on.
well,
Well,
just shout that out, and shout out you guys for doing this shit, man.
For sure. Shout
Guys-
out Jumbo. Shout out Stupid Idiot.
yeah. Guys, go check out the show if you're in town. And yeah, this was a good one. But,
Okay.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, man.
Peace.
All right. Let's hope that file's not corrupted.
This is fun.
Yeah, man.